That'll do, girl.
I made sure our fallen comrades were laid to rest. And they can rest easy, knowing that their sacrifice...
Quentin, I have a proposal for you.
Do you now? Something tells me you'll be asking more of me than a cask of Gotand gold. Go on then. Propose. You'd have me convince the chiefs and chamberlains of the realm that they should simply swallow their pride and do the one thing that has proved impossible for thousands of years. Was there anything else? Perhaps I can fetch you a meat pie as well.
I know it's a lot to ask, but I can think of none better suited to the role.
And you'd have me give up what little I have left to do it. I told you, Clive. The people of Lostwing are my family, and I cannot abandon them. You'll have to find someone else.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So am I.
And why might that be?
What he's asking. How's it any different to what you've done so far? They want you to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. That's what you do best. If it's the vineyard you're worried about, we'll see that the grapes are picked and the tons filled. You know we will.
It's not that.
Then what is it? You said yourself we're family. Don't you trust us?
You know that's not what I'm...
Then what are you saying? That only we are worth saving? Why turn your back on everyone else? You convinced us we could build new lives for ourselves, and if you can do that, who's to say you couldn't convince the entire realm?
A stirring argument. I fear that any rejoinder I make might fall somewhat flat by comparison.
So you'll join us?
Where do you need me?
Field Marshal Havel will want to speak with you in person. He's currently in Port Isolde. I can arrange for a party of Cursebreakers to accompany you there.
That would be very much appreciated. I hear the roads are far from safe these days.
Hopefully not for long. My uncle will want to know that his plan is taking shape.
Any statesmen we speak with are liable to resist our entreaties if they feel that what little power remains to them is at stake. They must be dealt with skillfully. I shall not repeat the errors of my past.
Reckon Master Quentin could argue an egg back up a hen's quim if he set his mind to it. Reckon Master Quentin could argue an egg back up a hen's quim.
Quentin's gonna build us new Lostwing, and I'm gonna help.
Uncle, I bring good news. The Field Marshal has agreed to your plan.
Ha! Of course he has. I didn't doubt you for a moment, dear boy.
Rutherford is accompanying him back to your manor in Port Isolde as we speak. They will await your return there. As will one other.
One other? Who, exactly?
Lord Havel was concerned that even if he could get the realm's armies to agree to an accord, he might not be as successful in convincing those with political power. He asked if I might have a solution, and I suggested a certain Imperial Lord Magistrate turned Liberator.
One of your co-conspirators?
Master Quentin would probably call me one of his. But yes.
Another outlaw, then. Just the thing we need to put these rotten politicos in their places. Good thinking, Clive.
I'm glad you approve.
The more the merrier, eh?
Uncle, assuming Havel and Quentin can solve our problem with the armies, you still haven't mentioned how we might manage the grain shortages.
Oh, don't you worry, my boy. The 7 high houses will be seeing to that. They have all agreed to make the most generous of donations. Oh, of course, it did take a little persuasion, but luckily I had some unexpected help.
From who?
Why, you, my boy. Rumor has it that you rescued the Lady Ariane's head steward Rockford from a horde of bloodthirsty bandits.
It was more of a handful.
Well, the old battle axe was so pleased. She had a shipload of talents delivered to my private docks by the next new moon. And when the other houses saw the parsimonious old crone's purse strings finally loosen, they as good as tripped over themselves in the rush to follow suit.
I'm happy to hear it.
Now, I must be getting back to the manor. Join us there at your earliest convenience, would you?
Of course, Uncle.
And how, pray tell, will we get that grain to the capital if the roads are still overrun with Akashic?
You'll find another bloody road. I only have so many men, and I'm not about to send them headlong into an ether flood. That is, unless you'd have them turn as well.
Well, I'd certainly eat less.
Says the man with a belly bigger than a band of curls. My soldiers actually need their rations. Without any food to keep them going, they'll be dead even before you've sent them on your fool's errand.
If I may, gentlemen, perhaps I might suggest an alternative approach. Though supply routes are indeed disrupted, there is no shortage of ships. Indeed, they bob away in every bay from here to Randalar, awaiting a safe haven. Allow them to make port and fill their bellies full of grain. And once those who crowd the cities are fed, ferry the displaced back to the countryside to work the fallow fields. But I'm sure that you wish to continue your discussion. Forgive the interruption. Two such firm friends as yourselves need no help from the likes of me. Rutherford spoke fondly of the great bond between you.
Us? Friends?
I can't stand the man.
Clive, I'm beginning to question the quality of the company you keep.
And what kind of company were you expecting him to keep? The man's a criminal.
Criminal? How dare you? You are not fit to breathe the same air as this fine, upstanding young gentleman.
Upstanding? He calls himself Sid the Bloody Outlaw.
Once more unto the breach.
Shall we begin again? What we seek here is not to create a new nation, nor to claim the thrones of those that already exist. We wish simply to bring stability to the realm that mankind might weather the current storm. And to do that, we must convince those in power, the generals, the statesmen, the nobles, that our cause is just. There will be disagreements, yes, and I imagine some resistance, much resistance. But we cannot let that deter us. If we show them the path, show them that we walk it ourselves, then I am confident they will follow. The fate of the world lies in my nephew's hands, but the well-being of her people lies in ours. And we must not squander the chance that Clive has given us.
Uncle Byron,
Now, with that settled, let's move on to the signing of the Accord. For what great moment in history hasn't been accompanied by a little ceremony? Citizens of Valisthea, I present to you the Triunity. Rutherford, Mike Will. Well, my boy, the stage is set.
that it is.
This is the role you were born for. Now I ask only that you trust in the talents of your supporting cast. We shall play our parts to the best of our abilities, that you might have the opportunity to shine. The realm needs its Sir Crandall, and there is no better Crandall than you, Clive. I want you to keep this signed accord as proof of our faith in you.
I will. Thank you, Uncle.
Sorry, can't take you where you need to get to, but the Argo and me will be waiting when you get back.
What do you think that thing is?
How the hell is Sid gonna deal with that?
Sid! You have my word! I will not leave this pit until I can besten Avis with my own 2 hands. And a sword. I can use a sword, right? Gav uses a sword.
While I admit I had my doubts at first, your man Quinton seems a reasonable sort. That and every moment he's talking instead of Havel, the better chance we'll have of setting things straight. You can trust in us, Clive, just as we trust in you.
What is it, Clive? You can always tell me. Be strong, Clive.
You alright?
Something troubling you?
No more than usual. It's just... Eda's baby will be coming soon, and I wanted to make something for it.
I'm sure she'd like that.
Back in the north, families would always make gifts when a bairn was on the way. Yeah, let the little tykes know they were welcome in their new homes, like.
So, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is that Eda's due any day now, and I don't know if I'll be ready in time.
Is there anything I can do to help?
You know, there just might be.
All right then. What exactly are we making?
A good luck charm. But not just any good luck charm.
Not just any.
No. One made from the feather of a silver chocobo. There's naught lucky in all the realm, or so we used to say back home anyway. Thing is, they're hard to come by. Had Otto and Karen check with their suppliers, but nothing. I'd try and track one down myself, only...
Only the big day is fast approaching. And that's all you need, a feather.
That or the bird whose horse it's attached to, aye. I was gonna start by asking around with traveling traders plying the northern borders.
Well, there's no shortage of those passing through Martha's. I think I might make that my first port of call. I'll let you know if I find anything.
You're a good friend, Clive. I won't forget this. Can't say I've ever seen a silver chocobo myself, but I have seen one of their feathers. Look just like a normal one, only silver, obviously. Well, grey.
Let's hope one of the merchants here has what Gav needs. Excuse me. I'm looking for something.
Oh, well, then I'm your man.
A silver chocobo feather.
Oh, or maybe not. Though you're not the first to mention the bird around here. There was a man stopped by the rest not long ago claiming he was attacked by a silver chocobo near some gutted hovel not far from Eastpool. Most took him for a braggart and a liar, but who knows? Perhaps there was some truth to his tale.
We'll see. Thank you.
The feller who claimed he was attacked didn't linger here long. Said he was gonna go back and capture it. Prove us all wrong. And that was the last we ever heard of him.
How do? There you go. That all, is it?
You look like you could do with a drink. But the wind... like being back, and half of me wishes they... Give the others my regards.
Look, Daddy. Shining so brightly. Isn't it pretty?
Whoever's idea it was to take those bearers away to Eastpool has my thanks. Oh, it was the good of the town first, that one.
Can I help you with something?
You wouldn't happen to sell silver chocobo feathers, would you?
I deal in fruit, not fancies. But if it's fancies you're after, I suggest you try Rhiannon's ride.
Was a silver chocobo seen there?
Oh, yes. If you believe the ravings of a madman.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Every few years, someone comes along claiming they've sighted a silver bow, but the truth of the matter is, there ain't no such thing. You'll find nothing but bloodflies and bandits on Rhiannon's ride. Mark my words.
The people of the rest may seem to be in high spirits, but give them a little wine, a little company.
How do, traveller? You've the look of a man who could do with a new whetstone? Or perhaps a bawdy etching of the Vicerine?
Maybe another time. I'm looking for a silver chocobo feather.
If that's the case, rumours are all you're likely to find. No one has seen a silver chocobo for years. Word is they were all hunted for their feathers. Some northern nonsense about bringing good luck. Didn't bring them much, nor their bows. If any are still out there, I reckon they'll be doing their damnedest not to be discovered.
You're probably right. Thank you anyway. A silver chocobo sighted in the hills near Rhiannon's Ride. It sounds almost too good to be true. But since I'm already here...
The hills around the rest are crawling with wild chocobos. If you're not too picky about the colour of their plumes.
Just because the heavens have gone to wreck and ruin, it don't mean we have to. Now, let's get this started.
I'll build a barricade so sturdy, even if...
Can hardly make out a blooming thing. Oh, for a sonny.
Drax, you don't live by bandits for a change. More tracks. And these look fresh. The Chocobo was here. And recently. Perhaps it still is. I don't hear anything. Well, I'll be damned. It's all right. I'm not going to hurt you. Just borrowing a feather for my friend. Thank you. Let's get this back to Gav before they change their minds.
It was no trouble.
Clive, you're back. How'd you get on? Any luck?
Any luck, you say?
Crystal's crack. Is this what I think it is? Where in the hell did you find it?
It's a long story.
Right there on the road to Eastpool. Who'd have thought it?
Everything up there's been abandoned for years. The empty cabin made for the perfect shelter. Though I Fear my presence may have forced the poor creatures to look elsewhere.
Don't blame yourself, Clive. The Blight's right on Eastpool's doorstep. They'd have had to move on before long, even if you hadn't have turned up. They'll find a new home. Trust me. After all, that's what us endangered animals do. Anyway, what matters is, you managed to nick us one of their quills before they could run off. And now all that's left is to fix it to the carving.
I didn't know you could carve.
Reckon there's a lot you don't know about me. Like the fact I'm as good with a whittling knife as I am with a sword. And that bone Ember gave me's a dream to work with. What did you say it was from again? An Avis?
But it weren't your Avis, Sid. I slew one of my own at last.
So all those long nights in the pit finally bore fruit. I'm proud of you, Ember.
Don't speak too soon. I ain't done my trial yet.
There we go. What do you think?
I think if you ever hang up your scouting cap, you'll be able to make an honest living.
Oh, will I? I should go and see if Ed is awake.
Give it my best.
You can give it to yourself. Come on.
I don't want Gav to give up being a scout, honest.
Me lords.
How are you feeling?
Well, thank you. Is something wrong?
Wrong? No, nothing like that. What it is,
Go on, please. It's beautiful. Did you make it?
We did. Aye. It's from all of us here at the Hideaway. Your new family, like. It's a good luck charm. We may come up north when a band's on the way. I mean a baby. To let him know that they're part of the family too. Oh, I hope you like it.
I don't know what to say. I thank you, me lords, for everything.
If there's anything you need, just let us know.
I will.
Clive, fancy a swift off? I'm thirsty.
I could be convinced. Don't you think you've had enough?
No, we're celebrating. I'm gonna be a father.
I think Edda might have something to say about that.
You know what I mean. Bit of light in these dark times. Wasn't long after me 10th name day. My mum told us she was with child again. I was over the fucking moon. I was looking forward to having a little one to lord it over, what with me being the runt of the litter. Thought I'd finally have a chance to prove to the world that I could be a big brother. Imperials came the day she went into labour. Had myself a baby sister. And then I didn't. Me whole family gone in a blink, while I hid in the cellar like the spineless little arsehole I was. Great brother I turned out to be. I'll never be a leader. And I'll never be a hero. I'm just a daft little dog who comes running when his master calls. I'll never be like you, or Sid, or Jill, or even Torgal.
Have you finished?
Maybe.
Do you know why you're our best scout?
Yeah.
Because you don't need anyone to hold your hand. Without your resourcefulness, your courage, your determination, I don't know where we'd be. Maybe hanging off a cliff like,
That was only the once.
Exactly. You learned from it. And here you are after Founder knows how many missions, stronger for everyone. And let's not forget Rosalith. Who was it who freed me from the dungeon? Who was it who ran to Jill's rescue?
That would be me.
Because you're our brother, Gav. My brother.
Your brother.
Which means that when the time comes,
I get your room. And your sword. I may have had one too many.
you may have had 10 too many.
I said I was thirsty. Better get back to work anyway, after I walk this off. Clive?
What is it?
Thanks for, you know.
I know.
One of these days. One of these days, I swear, it's gonna be me who drinks you under the table.
If by under the table you mean retching on my boots half the night, I reckon one of those days was yesterday.
Ha ha, you think you're so funny. But just wait till we crack open the bottle I left in your chambers. That stuff's strong enough to burn the horns off a behemoth.
Sounds like I'll be needing some new boots.
Here he is. About that. Oi! Let's see. What over... Go and give that fucker one for me.
First the skies, then the crystal. What next? The advent of Omega herself.
It's not time yet, is it? Be strong, Clive.
Ah, Clive. This is it then, bro. Indeed.
You're wrong.
Of course.
Joshua, what's wrong? And don't say nothing.
It's not nothing. I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will, or something akin to it.
His will? How and where?
In the crypt beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the Duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so, they found a letter from Father.
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go, but... would you join me?
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well. I am ready to leave when you are. Back to Tabor, then. Not to be reunited with Yote this time, but with Father. Back to Tabor, then. Not to be reunited with Yote this time. Your Grace, my lord, I trust your journey was not overly onerous. Cyril, you found a letter from Father? Yes, I have it here. If you would do us the honor, my lord.
An inheritance.
It would seem the late Archduke penned this missive shortly before his passing.
The day before we left for Phoenix Gate.
What are these plans he spoke of? His plans for the Duchy, Your Grace. Your father entrusted them to my predecessor, the former bearer of the Burning Quill, who entrusted them in turn to me. The complete emancipation of bearers is their stated aim. But your father's dream did not end there. His Grace also spoke of building hospices to care for those stricken by the curse, and the founding of a new university to further the development of non-magical technologies. With the blight spreading ever more widely across the twins, Archduke Elwyn saw this as the only means of securing Rosaria's survival. He wished to see men and bearers treated as equals, to see centuries of common wisdom overturned.
Small wonder he did not think it achievable within his lifetime.
But he thought it achievable nonetheless. Had he not, he would never have written this message. Nor would he have entrusted his vision to his most faithful aides, those who would have stood with you, shielded you from the machinations of the less benevolent personages at court.
It's a pity only they are still with us.
'Tis true that those most loyal to your father were the first to suffer the Duchess's wrath. But one at least remains, and she has come bearing gifts.
What do you mean?
Mayhap it is better that she explain, my lord. After all, the duties entrusted to me by my predecessor extended only to recovering His Grace's will and arranging a meeting with the one who might execute it, or a part of it at least.
And where is this woman?
She awaits you in the archive, Your Grace.
Thank you, Cyril. Shall we then?
My lord, your grace. I hardly recognize you. I am Goditha, retainer of House Rosfield, loyal servant to the Phoenix and his shields. Your father, the Archduke Elwyn, entrusted me with the delivery of a gift. I only hope you can forgive my tardiness in bringing it to you.
Lift up your head, Lady Goditha. You have our gratitude for your service to our house and to our father.
I merely did my duty, as any proud Rosarian would.
My lady, perhaps you could explain a little more? What exactly is the gift you bring?
As I'm sure you know, it has long been the custom for the children of House Rosfield to be presented with certain keepsakes upon their coming of age.
Indeed it has. Our father often spoke of the day when our turn would come.
And had he lived to see it, he would have presented you with the treasures I bear. Matching armbands for you both. Alas, he did not live. Indeed, he was taken from us even before they could be completed. He had intended to claim the Heartstone with which each armband was to be finished himself, but it was not to be. And his gifts remain incomplete.
I see.
It saddens me to bring them before you, as they are. It was your father's wish that you be presented with the finished articles, not these works in progress. But with his grace long since gone, and the stone left unclaimed, I had little choice. You are grown men now, and his house is yours. And while I would not presume to insist upon your claiming the Heartstone in his stead, I know that nothing would have pleased him more than for you to do so.
Thank you, Lady Goditha.
What say you, Clive?
What else? Of course, my lady. May our father's will be done.
Oh, I am much obliged.
Do you know where we might find this Heartstone, my lady?
I do. Though it may be a matter of a good deal more than simply happening upon it. It is found in the bellies of elder griffins, you see. We do at least know where to find one. A certain specimen has made its nest in Titan's Wake, not far from here.
A certain specimen?
You are most perceptive, Your Grace. In answer to your unspoken question, yes. In fact, this is the very same beast your father meant to slay. I have been tracking its movements since you were but a boy. were you to slay it in his stead as men of House Rosfield, it would surely make your father proud.
What say you, Joshua?
What else?
The griffin your father meant to slay is currently nesting in Titan's Wake, not far from here. Slay it in his stead, and claim the Heartstone that he could not.
Titan's Wake is to the south of here. But we must not be hasty. The good lady has been disappointed once already.
Come on. Eyes peeled, Joshua. There it is. For House Rosfield. Is this the Heartstone?
I expect Lady Goditha will know.
Thank the Founder you were safe. The griffin is slain then?
And the Heartstone claimed.
Yes. This radiant luster, like frozen flame, is just as your father described it. Thank you, my lord. Your grace. Your father would be so proud.
Lady Goditha, the lapidary is ready.
Thank you, Cyril. I will be with him shortly. If you would excuse me, I shall have the stone cut and set forthwith. The armbands are complete. Pray, take them. They are yours, after all. Heartstone is harder and more enduring than garnet, or even ruby. It symbolizes unwavering will and devotion. And the graven vines encircling the stone represent the unbreakable bonds between you.
It's a message. Father knew we had enemies both inside and outside the duchy. Enemies who would thwart his vision. Only with unwavering devotion would it ever be realized.
And only if we stood together, as Phoenix and Shield, as brothers in arms, only then might those enemies be overcome.
Indeed. His Grace knew the enormity of the task he would entrust to you, his heirs. But this was more than just a message. It was a promise. That he would always be with you.
Thank you, Lady Goditha, for remaining the steadfast custodian of our father's will.
Forgive me, my lady, but there is something I don't quite understand. The Undying told me that after Father died, Mother claimed all of the ducal treasures for her own. Even if the armbands were incomplete, she would surely not have overlooked them. So, how were you able to keep them from her?
Because I was the keeper of the vault. Though I was but a lowly servant, your father spoke to me of his intentions for the bands, of the deep love he had for both of you, and his hopes for your future. In the days before the disaster at Phoenix Gate, I discovered that the Duchess had ordered her jewelry be sent away from the castle. It was then that I knew she meant to betray us. I tried to warn your father, but it was too late. When word of the fire reached Rosalith, I knew my time was short. So I took up the armbands and I fled into the night.
And thank the Founder you did.
Yet my duty to your father was incomplete. Not knowing what else to do, I followed the Griffin, thinking I might claim the Heartstone on its passing. And so my pursuit continued, until Lord Cyril appeared before me. He informed me that His Grace's will had been recovered, and that his sons were alive and well.
Lady Goditha, on behalf of my father and all the people of Rosaria, I thank you for your loyal service.
As do I.
Thank you, my lord. Your Grace, for coming back to us, for giving my service meaning. I remain your faithful servant, my lord.
The bands suit you well. It must be gratifying to finally receive the inheritance that was denied you for so long.
It is. And we thank you for the part you played, Cyril.
If you would permit me to play my part a little longer, might I suggest that you make your way to your father's memorial atop Hawk's Cry Cliff? Let him see that you have received his blessing, and that his vision lives on in you.
I suppose it would be churlish not to. What do you say, Clive? Shall we pay Father a visit?
I think we should. I was hoping to be able to offer him my thanks before we left for Origin.
Your father's helm is enshrined there. It has been since the day we recovered it from Phoenix Gate. I prithee claim it, for it too is a part of your inheritance, and I do not doubt that your father would prefer it in your hands than perched upon some lonely rock.
Thank you, Cyril. Come on, Clive. He's waiting.